Hey everybody, welcome to our first INBODY Q&A. Laura and I are really excited to be here, and we just want to thank you for the questions that you sent us. We saw some really nice themes, and what we're going to be doing is basically doing a video per question. So without further ado, Laura, do you want to say hello to everybody?
Hello, hello. I'm dialing in today from Berlin and stuff here, of course, in Madrid. So, yeah, really excited to kick this one off. I can get going with the question and then pass over to you. So, this was a good one. This was all about whammies. And the question was around so, I've built up my awareness of my whammy. I've done all this work on just building my awareness. I know what it is, I know what it does, I've named it, but now what? And it's kind of that tension between having the awareness and transforming it into something new and something different.
Brilliant. Thanks, Laura. Okay. So, as Laura said, we have this whammy. We're clear on, what voices it's saying, what thoughts, what beliefs we're believing, what emotions start to come up, whether it's anxiety or worry or anger or frustration, and then how we behave with it. Yeah, when the whammy's loud, we tend to do some behaviors that we're, not so fond of. So once all of that's taken care of, what do we do? Now, Laura and I think that this is the best way to take it and run it through the INBODY filter. Okay, so Laura and I are going to give a couple examples of how to do this. So, in real life examples. So, for instance, um, we all have multiple whammies. And, in preparation for this Q&A, one of my whammies comes right up. So obviously, I love chatting with Laura. I love sharing information. I love talking about personal growth and development and transformation. Yet, I have a whammy that's always going, but you can't make a mistake. But it has to be perfect. Oh, make sure everything's set and done and ready, or else. Yeah. So even though I love all this stuff, I still have this voice that comes up. So that's going to be my example. So let's start the INBODY filter. So first, I go to the I. What do? We have those 4 steps. So the first 2 steps are really getting clear in my mind. What's my number and what's my word? So for example, if I were to feel it now, what's my number? Probably around a 4. What's my word? Typically, it's usually anxiety or worry. And now what? Okay, so I've mentally become conscious. Now it's about starting to take the elevator down and drop a little bit into the body and start to connect. So now we're going to do some centering. For me, I always love to put my hand over my heart and do some breathing. And then we do some grounding. So I then carry that down, feel my feet on the ground. Maybe I'm doing this walking, but for right now, I'll share about just sitting, feeling my feet, rooting down. And what you're looking for is kind of, for me, I don't know about for you, Laura, is that little bit of a click, like you're plugging in, like, oh, okay, I'm conscious, and oh, I'm in a body. Oh, I'm here. Oh, there's something here. And there's that little bit of a click. So that's my I. Anything you want to add on top of that, Laura?
Yeah, this is this is really that first part about befriending the whammy. It's like, okay, let's meet each other. And so by you doing the scaling and then by naming, just whatever that might bring up anxiety, for example, then okay, we're meeting each other head on.
Brilliant. I don't know, it's like opening that door again. So I love that word befriending. Brilliant. So we have the I. Now we're moving into the N, the notice. So I'm in my body. What do I notice? typically when this whammy, this little I can never make a mistake whammy comes up, I start to feel a little tension in my throat. It can get dry. My shoulders can get a bit tight. My stomach, I notice that I'm holding. I'm not necessarily breathing as full as I could. So those are usually my tells. Um, and so I'm just going to notice. What do I do? Remember, we're just scanning. We're gathering intel, gathering information without curiosity, sorry, with curiosity, without judgment. Um, and that's all we're doing here. Okay. Moving on to B, the breathe. Now, so pick something in my body. Usually the throat's the biggest. All right, now I'm gonna do a little breathing into my diaphragm, again, dropping further, relaxing, slowing down my breath while focusing on this sensation in my throat. What's it doing? How does the pressure feel? What's the temperature like? Is there a color? Is it moving? Is it shifting? You know? So really focusing on that sensation again with curiosity and not getting stuck in the story and being pulled back out into the whammy of, see, your throat's tight and now you're going to make a mistake and blah blah blah. No, we're just feeling the sensation and just watching what it does. Yeah. And then remember the second part of the breathe step is then to just do a little whole breathing. Yeah. So once we've identified, and you can do just the one place, you can go all around and, you know, take a little peruse throughout your body before you then kind of just come into a whole sense and do that breathing. Okay. So that's the I, N, and B. So it's almost kind of like, in my mind, a bit of step one of coming home.
Yes. And I really loved what you were saying around the tells because, the INB, when we're, I don't know, being with a whammy, it can be really intense. It can actually feel incredibly uncomfortable. And so there can be this desire to kind of jump out of it or to distract or to push it away. But
Yep.
instead, what you're really being called to do here in order to transform it is to see it and feel it and sense it as something that there's possibility here for something new. And it's not easy because, yeah, we all have our tells. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But this is an opportunity to say, hey, this is a part of me, but it's not in the driver's seat right now.
Yeah. And so I know a lot of people when taking the program, they can get a little stuck on the N and the B because the brain wants a solution. And it's like, body, what is this? This is boring. Why am I doing this? And remember, the reason why we want to connect into the body and drop the story and just feel those sensations and feelings is to send a message to our nervous system that we are safe, that it is safe to feel uncomfortable sensation in this moment. There is no tiger running after you. So that's why these steps are so important. Yes, we're connecting in the mind and body, but we are taking the time to recalibrate and send messages to our brain that, oh, it's okay. I'm not in danger. And that's why this step is so critical before going on to O, D, and Y. So, all right. So let's say now we've done this step. We're realizing, okay, I want to go through this to meet myself. I'm befriending my whammy. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's okay. It's just sensation. Now I can go in the O. Remember, this is the okay step. Again, this is a critical piece, especially if we're using INBODY to meet our whammies more deeply. So now that we're in the okay step, what are we doing? We're acknowledging our reality and then doing something with it with an acceptance statement. Yeah. So now when you're here, I still might be feeling anxiety or worry or maybe something else. Maybe I'm a little calmer, but now I can say, oh, okay. Or maybe it's intensified. Yeah. Oh, okay. Now that I'm in my body, I can really feel the lump in my throat and the dryness in my mouth. So whatever it is, using those acceptance statements, even though my whammy feels really loud and my throat feels extremely dry, I'm open to feeling more relaxed right now. Or even though I'm frustrated that my whammy's here because it's scary, I choose to know that I'm safe in this moment. So really acknowledging the reality. I'm not like, well, it's okay. Y'all do fine. Don't worry if you make a mistake. No, I'm acknowledging it and then making a declaration of, well, even though it's there, I choose to stay with it. Yeah. So there are going to be multiple acceptance statements. And and I'm not sure what you do, Laura, but for me, I tend to use multiple. So I'll say a couple statements until I feel that little bit of a shift. And then I might go to, well, what do I feel now? And then change the statement. And remember, everybody, we're not just saying the statement, we're feeling the statement. And that's a really big distinction of, even though I feel this, I choose that. We're really wanting to get that sensation in our body so that we feel that shift. Laura, anything you want to share there?
Yeah, I suppose there's something there around, and this is where you can make the program your own. Because actually, I love that you do multiples. And what's funny is I almost do the exact opposite. So I will just focus on, hey, what's the biggest charge for me right now with this? And so I'll identify maybe the biggest charge that I can find words for. And then I'll just stick with one statement, and I'll just be with it for a little while until, as you say, you feel something change in the body. And it's hard to say because you don't know what that change is going to be, but you know it when you feel it. And this is why it's so important to stay with it. You'll know it when you feel it and just wait until you feel something. And that's,
And it can,
yeah, that's
it,
okay.
exactly. And as Laura said, just wait. And it can be something super subtle. Yeah. What you're looking for is almost just this little bit of a release or a shift or oh, you're giving me permission to feel this way? Oh, that's lovely. Yeah. So find, as Laura said, make it your own. And sometimes I hold my hand over my heart when I say these statements. Sometimes I do what's called EFT tapping. And we'll put a link there for those that want to learn more. You're basically tapping on acupressure points while you're talking. Um, but all you're doing is staying put until you feel a shift while speaking out loud and feeling it in the body. That's great. I'm glad that you have the opposite. So people can see that this isn't, oh, one size fits all. Okay. All right. So there's the O. Now, great. Assuming that we're connected, we're a bit more relaxed, we've allowed our reality and we're choosing something different, feeling more connected to our wisdom self. We're more in the green zone now. Now we can go to D. This is where the fun begins of, again, making this your own and asking a power question. And there's unlimited power questions that you can ask. So, and again, sometimes I do multiple questions here. I'm curious to hear what you do. But so for me, if I want to explore this whammy further, I might, start by saying, well, what message does my whammy have for me? Or you know, I could ask something like, what would happen if I took the pressure off of it being here? Or, what gift am I not seeing? Yeah, so you can really play with this. And what you're kind of doing is you're sitting in this question, you're simmering in this question. And then as discuss is, because you're in that green state, you're more open. You're now going to get your messages, you're receiving, you go into that brainstorming phase and you just, have fun with what these messages might mean. And then you put it through, which one you kind of want to grab onto, and you put it through your inner yes and inner no filter. So this is a really fun process. If you start to notice you get a little contracted again, because working with your whammy can be very triggering. If you notice that, just take a step back, breathe, start again, go back up to notice, breathe, do an acceptance statement, start all over. But you're just dipping your toe. Laura, what do you do? I'm curious.
Well, I am nothing if not consistent in this way. So, yeah, the way I'm working in discuss is, yeah, I will choose. It might take me some time. I mean, this is the other thing is it might take me time to get the question that actually sits nicest or produces. I go for the charge. Like, so where's the juice? Where's the energy? And I kind of will almost do detective work until I find that. So that's just kind of my process. So yeah, I will. I suppose for me, the O and the D, these are real doorways. I see these as kind of real thresholds. So these are like pressure points where there can be a lot of transformation and a lot of insight and a lot of potential clearing that can happen here. So this is why it is important to make it your own. And there is no right or wrong with this. So when you're working with your whammy and you're routing it through the system, it's okay to take your time and you're not going to have all the answers all at once. So you just play, as you were saying, Steph. You play and you keep it light and you'll feel it.
Yeah. And, don't be afraid to use the power questions on the sheet to help you, because oftentimes, our brain might go, well, why are you here? Or how can you go away? And I don't want you. I want to feel better. We go back into automatic pilot or red zone and be like, oh, this doesn't feel good. I want to feel good. So how do I get rid of it? What are the 3-step way of getting rid of it? That's not what we're doing here. This is the exploration, because the more you can meet your whammy and befriend your whammy, remember, the more you're getting to know yourself. This is all about mastering the art of you. And this is where we're taking it a little level deeper that can help you. Um, so, all right, that's the D. And then we go on to the Y. What is this? What are we choosing? So, based on our answers and our exploration, what do we feel comfortable with in this moment? There may not be anything to do, or there may be an action that you can go, oh, okay, you know what? My perfectionist side really wants me to do a good job, but not at the expense of my own health and sanity. So maybe we'll do a little compromise. I'll do some preparation. And then my wisdom self is going to say, well, that's good enough. And even if there's an uncomfortability, I'm still choosing from my wisdom self that this is what it is. And I'm going to hold this uncomfortable, and that's okay. Yeah. So, what are you choosing? Run it through that inner yes and inner no again. And then, key thing, and yes, do not forget to thank yourself and acknowledge the time you've just taken to get to know yourself a little better and go through the 6 steps of INBODY to help you just get that 1% little closer and more intimate to yourself, so that you know how to work with yourself the next time around this happens. Because these whammies it's not about getting the whammies to go away. This is about transforming and integrating the whammies into something that's more beneficial for you in your day-to-day life.
Yeah, I mean, you and I have talked about this before where Whammies are a guide in disguise. I mean, they are protecting us from something incredibly important that is quite devastating to feel. And so it's acting as a buffer. It's acting, hey, let's do it this way so then you don't have to feel like this. Like, I'll give you an example. I was thinking about this the past couple of days. Like, what is my toughest whammy? Like, what is my like my Rambo whammy? Like, what is tough? And I have it. It came at, well, I knew right away. It's called catastrophe. And it has an exclamation point at the end because it's like a superhero, but not in a good way. And this is where I will jump to the worst case scenario if something, goes wrong, right? Or if something bad happens, right? That I judge to be bad, then boom, I'm in catastrophe. And I guess for me, it was, we were talking earlier about the okay and the discuss steps. And so when I'm working to transform this whammy into a guide, what am I doing here? So I one of the statements that came up for me in the okay was, even though I'm feeling panic right now, I'll wait until I feel calmer. And so it gives you a flavor of how you can start to maybe just work with it a little bit more. And then another one that comes up for me is like, even though I'm afraid of the worst happening, I'm going to stay open to hope. So here's where the little choices come in. And
I
then
love
for a power question with catastrophe, it's like, what will it take for me to choose hope over fear? And so what I'm noticing as I'm working is this is a lifelong process, right? Like this isn't one and done, sorry to say. Not with the big whammies. But I notice how this is starting to shift into something that helps me with risk management. And so there's something to say about reformed whammies.
Yeah, so I love your example, the catastrophe. It's almost like I have a what if. I always have a what if one. And when you were saying catastrophe in your okay statements, because I was listening so intently, I could actually feel my body relax when you said, even though I feel panic, da 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 da. I was like almost mirroring and I could feel it. Yeah. So the power, there's such power in these acceptance statements, and just listening to somebody say it can do that shift. So just be aware when, if for any of you, when you were listening, go back and listen. Did anything shift for you? Maybe this is one of your whammies, maybe it's not. But I loved just experiencing that right now. So thank you. And then on that reformed whammies, Laura and I had some feedback of a past participant, or current participant, I should say, who actually works with reformed whammies. He called it reformed whammies. And basically, his original whammy, the kind of dysregulated or dysfunctional way of operating, he worked through his process, and now he has a different name for that whammy that's much more a kinder, realistic, conscious, considered way of being. And it was just a lovely way to see how, if you work with your whammies more consciously and more deeply, you are transforming and reforming. And so, our message here today is whammies aren't bad. They're messages. Yeah, they're messages from the past. And if we want to, move to that other side, we need to deepen our exploration. So using that in-body filter is a really powerful way to do it. It's a nice, safe way of doing it because you're entering that safe container before you do your exploration. So, Laura, is there any last words before we wrap up our first question?
Yeah, I think it's just that reminder. It's a guide in disguise. So just do the work to get to know it better and to allow it the space to transform. And I think, even talking about this with you, with friends, it can also really help. So don't be afraid to talk about it with other people and actually could even do the practice together because that can be amazingly powerful with a trusted person.
Yep, I echo that wholeheartedly. Even just, just chatting about this right now, I notice, I was bringing up a real whammy and I'm like, oh, I don't actually feel as and being in a heightened state anymore. So I did move to the other side, even though, I was just talking about it. So thank you. And again, our goal here with these Q&As is to hopefully help give you some more understanding and some more motivation for you to keep going on your path, because doing all this work will continue to shift that reality for you. So we hope this was helpful, and we look forward to seeing you again soon for another question. So we hope you have a good day.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.